Hello everyone, hello, welcome. Dave Guerra here. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. This is Lessons in Leadership. So again, thank you. We're back to that. We're at a 1 week format now, or once a week format. So thank you for everybody that watched prior. Again, we're kind of just sticking to once a week now, trying to change things up, seeing how that works out. So with that being said, let's get started. This is Lessons in Leadership. The Walking Leader presents Lessons in Leadership. And let's have a chat about leadership. So now we just consolidated everything down to lessons in leadership. So today what I'm going to talk about are the 6 things mentally tough people do. Mentally tough. And it's important, especially in these trying times and in these changing times and these times that are fluid, emotional, a lot of emotion during these times. And it's going to tax you. It could, at some point, it can divide a family, or it can change the structure. It can change the attitudes that people have. But most of all, it's going to get us to a place where all of this is going, is that we need to listen to each other. And listening to each other and understanding that everybody has a right to think the way they do, behave the way they do, and they also have a right to respect each other, because they're going to be the first ones to demand respect. And when they're not giving it, how can they demand it? So ensure that, respect is being given and it's being understood. And how do you understand respect and how do you give respect? Well, you have to listen to each other. Then you know what to expect and you know where to go from there. So with that being said, these are also times that are going to challenge us. These are the times that are also going to, put stresses on us, stresses we've never encountered. Stress we've never, my generation has never been through a pandemic. Sure, we've had other things on a global scale happen to us, but at this point, no, it's a global pandemic and it's happening. And guess what? It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. So now you're going to take the lessons that we learned and lived through and made and adjusted and adapted to, and those in the future are going to learn from us. So that's why we need to realize that, hey, it's going to challenge us, but it's not going to break us. It's going to make us better people. It's going to make us mentally tough, because one thing is certain, and you've heard it all along, tough times do not last. Tough people do. So let's get mentally tough. And how do you do that? Well, first you realize that you have to move on. You don't waste time feeling sorry for yourself. Those tough people, mentally tough people do not feel sorry for themselves. Again, they have to keep moving on because time is changing. Time is moving forward. And as we get further and further away from the beginning of the pandemic and all of that around it, and then now with the entire Black Lives Matter situation, and yes, they do matter, and yes, it's going to impact everyone else after that. So yes, it is going to be a situation that needs to be addressed. It looks like it's off center here. So again, we need to keep moving forward. We cannot be regressing. We cannot be going back in time. And most of all, we cannot be hitting the pause button. Oh, wait, let me catch up. No, we have to keep moving. And to be mentally tough, you have to move on. You don't waste time feeling sorry for yourself, especially that. Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong? No, you don't do that. You keep moving forward. Next, you embrace change and you welcome the challenges. Yes, you have to embrace change. Change is non-negotiable. It's here. It's all around us. That's all I talk about, is change is going to happen. Whether you like it or not, whether you don't like how other people are dealing with that change, whether you don't like how other people are expressing themselves and how they're dealing with change, because again, you've never gone through a pandemic. They've never gone through a pandemic. So understand that the change is going to happen, and it's going to be a challenge across the board on all spectrums, all aspects of your life. Internal, external, close, far away area, sphere of concern, sphere of influence. It's all around you. And you need to welcome the challenge. And by welcoming the challenge, that means you're going to be open and receptive to whatever comes next. You might not like it, but guess what? It's coming anyway. Stay happy. Mentally tough people stay happy. They do not waste time and energy on the things they cannot control. Folks, if you could control the pandemic, it would have been over. If we had dealt with this entire system of racial inequality, injustice, lack of justice, lack of empathy, lack of sympathy, lack of understanding, lack of listening to each other, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. But no matter what situation we're in, we still have to stay happy, because again, that's how you fight the negativity. That's how you counter negativity. You stay happy. You can only take care of yourself. You can only control yourself. You cannot control others and how they feel and how they want to progress and how they want to project. You just have to stay happy with yourself, and trust me, happiness is contagious. It really, truly is. I know it sounds cliche, but think about it. If you're happy, other people are going to see, hey, that's a happy person. I want to be around that happy person. I want to be around that person that understands. They cannot control things. They cannot control everything, but they have the wherewithal to control themselves. And that's a big plus. That's where we learn. That's where we grow, and that's how we move on. They are kind. Mentally tough people are kind. Mentally tough people are fair, and mentally tough people are unafraid to speak up. Okay, now be careful here because I'm about to say something. Again, to reiterate, mentally tough people are kind, fair, and are not afraid to speak up. They're unafraid to speak up. Now, here, remember this. Now, be careful. Don't mix any of that up, because the ones that are not afraid to speak up, but are not kind and not fair, lack sympathy, lack empathy, lack any kind of wherewithal of understanding that, hey, there's others out there dealing with the same thing, the same situation. Yes, it's none of your business, but guess what? If you are unafraid to speak up, but you are not kind and you're not fair, you're not equitable, then guess what? You're a fake person. And it's just that simple. You are a fake person. Because it all goes hand in hand. That's how you get mentally tough, because again, you're faking the kindness, you're faking being fair, but you're not afraid to speak up, and that you're being genuine and authentic about. Again, be careful. They are also willing to take calculated risks, not foolish risk, calculated risk. There is a difference. The mentally tough people take calculated risk. And I want to thank the people over at smallbiztrends.com for guidance on this calculated, on helping me here with this calculated risk taking. They provided me with this great list here. People who take calculated risks, well, guess what? They do the research, and they do a lot of research. Because, again, I'm going to use my military time. We would not go and assault or take an objective unless we knew the terrain, unless we knew the enemy, unless we knew how many forces were on the other side, unless we knew how much ammo, beans and bullets and band-aids we were going to need. All of that. That is doing the research. That's putting in the work. Anticipate mistakes. You're going to make a mistake. No one is perfect. You can fool yourself to think you're perfect, but no one is absolutely 100% perfect. That's why the world is full of mistakes. That's why we're in the situation we're in. Set checkpoints and goals. So along the way, while you're looking at taking a calculated risk, set some checkpoints and goals, meaning, okay, I did this. Can I still proceed? Or did I achieve this objective? Did I get to this point? Did I get to this checkpoint and everything's still intact, 100% ready to rock and roll? And if not, well, then you decide at that point what you need to do. So that what that means is that if you get to a checkpoint or a goal and you don't meet it, are you willing and ready to pivot, to turn on a dime? And folks, those of you that operate in a small business, those of you that operate independent, that are independent business owners, small scale businesses, small to medium sized businesses, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're more than ready to pivot and turn on a dime. It's those large organizations, the one that have multiple layers. That, well, it's like an act of Congress to get them to turn. So no, they're not going to be able to take those calculated risks. And that's why those larger organizations fear any kind of risk. But here we are for the mentally tough people. Be willing to take a calculated risk that's not a foolish risk, and learn to love the word no. Learn to love the word no. The word no definitely is something you need to have in your vocabulary and have ready to use, and not be afraid to use it. Don't worry, you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. No, you're going to hurt somebody's feelings when you say yes and then you cannot deliver. That's what hurts more. So learn to love to say the word no. Learn the word no. Understand it, that it serves a purpose, and don't take it personally when they tell you. Again, you're asking them for something. They can't do it. Don't take it personally. But again, when you ask somebody and they say no, but they hem-haw and have to explain everything, and then again, at that point, they bring you into their side, and then that's when you start seeing through the transparent. You start peeling back the layers, and you see how transparent they are, how they truly are. Next, when taking a calculated risk, jump when the water feels good. So it's kind of like anything. If I'm going to jump off a bridge, I want to know how deep the water is. I don't want to jump into the shallows. I want to dive into a deeper end, and that way I can not have a problem and hit rock bottom sooner than anticipated. So again, jump when the water feels good. But you're going to know it because you've sized everything up. You did the research. You anticipated making mistakes. You set some checkpoints. Man, you also are ready to pivot if you have to. And you can also say no when you have to. Celebrate the success of others. Celebrate the success of others. What does this mean? Well, guess what? It means exactly what it means. Is don't be resentful. Don't be, oh, well, here, he just said he was going to write a book. Now he's got a book. And, don't be resentful. Celebrate the fact that somebody sat down, took the time to put those words in an order, to create a sentence, to create a paragraph, to create a chapter, to create a book. Success is not that easy. It does take time. And it doesn't just get handed to them overnight. Again, it's like Nolan Ryan, the strikeout king. He threw so many strikeouts in his career, but guess what? I think he gave up more home runs. I think he was like in second place in the history of the Major League Baseball of giving up home runs as a pitcher. So again, for every strike, there's always going to be the opposite side of that. So it's a lot of work. But don't be resentful of other people's success. You apply yourself. You make it happen. You go through the tough times. You go through the good times. Think of the better times. And the rough times and the sad times, but guess what? It makes you tough, it makes you strong. And in the end, that's what really all it takes is, again, don't stop, don't pause, keep moving on, embrace change, welcome the challenges, stay happy even when others are not. Let them gravitate to you because people like to gravitate towards happy people. Be kind, be fair, and also be unafraid to speak up, but you have to be all three. You can't pick and choose. Be willing to take calculated risks, not foolish risks. Don't be a fool. Know where you're going to land. If you're going to jump off something, you know you're going to land where your feet are going to hit the ground. Celebrate the success of other people. Do it. Just give them a shout out. Hey, congratulations. Just say something nice. Do something nice. But don't be resentful of their success just because they worked a little harder than you did. That's how it works. So don't be that way. So again, folks, be mentally tough, especially in these times. These are the times now that is going to make us. This is the time that if you feel you're not mentally tough, guess what? Coming out of this, you're going to be surprised with yourself. You're going to be an entirely different person. And why? Because we have no choice. Everyone, I'm Dave Guerra. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. This has been Lessons in Leadership. And 6 things mentally tough people do. That's right. To get through, to make it happen. And because tough times do not last, tough people do. Be a tough person. All right, take care. Talk to you next week.